Hi, Kia listeners. Let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Well, haven't we got some stuff to go through? It's been a few days since I last spoke to you all. So we're going to talk about days 5, 6, 7 and day 8 just finished. Well, what a day it was on day 8. We'll get to that. I've got a cup of tea, so settle in and let's talk about what's been happening in the November Basho. Day 5, Ori Ozeki and Sekiwake matchup. So Kirishima on day 5 beat Meisei, gets Meisei to push a little bit too hard at the tachi-ai, a little bit of a defensive arm hold, a really good side step and a pull down. So Kirishima gets that one. Hoshoryu got in a little bit of trouble on day 5. He had a bit of a staring contest with Goneyama. So before the match starts, the senior Ozeki sometimes waits for the junior Rishiki to put both hands down before he's ready. It's almost like a rank privilege. Anyway, Goneyama put one hand down and Hoshoryu just sat there waiting and waiting and waiting. And it was about a minute of waiting and bit of a false start, and then they had another stand up and they sat down again and they had another go, and after about 3 minutes the match finally got underway as Goneyama really wanted to put Hoshoryu under pressure early. He went hard. Hoshoryu went fully in to push Goneyama out Oshidashi, and he really gave Goneyama one of the big stares at the end. Well, after the match, Hoshoryu got a bit of a reprimand from one of the senior judges. He said, look, that's not Ozeki behaviour. He needs to set an example. Hoshoryu did apologise in a fashion, but I think if you watch some of the other Ozeki, they're not far off doing what Hoshoryu did. Maybe Hoshoryu took it a little bit too far. Takakeisho tried a little bit of a hanker attempt on Takayasu, but it didn't quite complete it. He put Takayasu off balance enough that Takayasu went all in, and Oshidashi, Takayasu took that win. Wakamoto Haru, he beat Ura. Yori Tayoshi cross out, but look, it was a really awkward little move that Wakamoto Haru did on Ura, and Ura kind of twisted down. Look, the acrobat, he does lose in some weird ways. To me, I thought it probably should have been one of the hineris, maybe an Uwata hineri. Anyway, Ura tried hard. He recovered at the bails, but Wakamoto Haru had him under control. It was a pretty good win by Wakamoto Haru. Koto no Waka beat Daisho. Daisho didn't really get started at the tachi-ai, and he goes down front, overbalancing against the big pillow. Midori Fuji had a bit of a win over Kinbozan. He did a big old hanker, Hikiatoshi, and that got him the win. Look, I don't really blame Midori Fuji for that, because Kinbozan's a big lad. It was probably a pretty good option. So that was the highlights of day 5. Day 6, Takayasu beat Kirishima. It was a really good sumo contest, a really good strong tachi-ai. Lots of thrusting and grabbing, and Kirishima tried to roll Takayasu over Watanage, but Takayasu grabbed Kirishima's leg and upended him backwards. It was a komata sakui. In the process of being thrown, you grab your opponent's leg and upend him backwards. That's a bit of an unusual one. A komata sakui, throwing him backwards, upending him. A really good one. So Takakeisho beats Tobizaru finally. He's lost the last 4 matches to Tobizaru. Tobizaru tried a hanker, but Takakeisho didn't have that much forward momentum. He was thrusting and a bit of slapping battle ensued. Takakeisho got a couple of pretty good thrusts in, pushing Tobizaru to the edge. And as he pivoted around, he got a bit of final assistance out of the ring. A kuridashi, a rear push out, as he showed his back. Goneyama beat Kirishima. Really good quick tachi-ai. Had a few good thrusts, a Norowa neck thrust by Goneyama on Kirishima. Goneyama got a half-hearted grab as Kirishima half slips and went forward onto his face. It was officially Sukiyotoshi pull down, but it was probably more of a half slipatoshi by Kirishima in that one on day 6. Koto no Waka beat Hokuto Fuji, Oshidashi. Hokuto Fuji got a really good touchy eye. Lots of defensive action by Koto no Waka to stop Hokuto Fuji getting a grip. Really small mistake and a well-landed thrust put Hokuto Fuji off balance, and Koto no Waka got an Oshidashi push-out. Shodai beat Daisho, the threshing machine. It was a good hit at the touchy eye, but after an initial hit, Shodai stepped back and Daisho went flat on his face. Little bit overcommitted there, back to his old methods, Daisho, getting a little bit too forward, a bit too in over the top of his feet. He goes down Hitaki Komi. Abi beats Aosaki Wake, Wakamoto Haru. Started a bit of a run of bad matches for Wakamoto Haru. Abi gets a good double thrust Norawa at the touchy eye, so he really hit him both hands up in the neck. He kept them coming in a pretty steady diet, and Wakamoto Haru went for a right grip. He was a little bit off balance. Abi grabbed it and flung Wakamoto Haru for a kotanage beltless throwdown. Look, that was pretty disappointing by the Sekiwake Wakamoto Haru. He needs to find a way to get himself back into the game because it's going really not well for him at this point. Midori Fuji, he got a double underarm grip from the touchy eye on Endo, and you could see Endo panicked as he knew what was coming next. Midori Fuji quickly changed, however, to a rear belt grip and turned Endo around, unbalancing him against the grip, against the bales for an easy Yorikiri push-out. It was pretty smart sumo there by Midori Fuji. He went 5-1 after that win. The other big players include Ichi Yamamoto, who won the last Juryo Basho. He's beaten all of his Juryo fellow promotees, Tohaka Kuryu, Tsuranumi, Tomokaze Kitanowaka, and he's also beat Tsurugisho and Nishiki Fuji on day 6 to be 6-0. However, on day 7, Sadanoumi changed that. It was big thrusting action from Sadanoumi as they chased each other around the dohyo. Sadanoumi got Ichi Yamamoto against the bales. He recovered, but he had a second go, and Ichi Yamamoto went out Yorikiri. A win there to Sadanoumi to add one loss to Ichi Yamamoto. Day 7 saw quite the action, with the schedule for the NHK News at 6 p.m. in serious danger after a marathon 6-minute 40-second bout between Hokuseiho and Midori Fuji, including a Mizu-iri, which is basically a water break, and the first water break in Makuuchi in 8 years since Terano Fuji and Ichi Inojo had one 8 years ago. I say it's a bit of a problem for NHK because they're very strict with the news at 6 p.m. on their broadcast, and if they don't go to the news at 6 p.m. they get a lot of phone calls apparently. Anyway, it was about a 60-kilogram mismatch. Saw Midori Fuji, he tried for a double underarm grip on Hokuseiho at the touchy eye, but Hokuseiho, he really knew what was coming. He denied that left underarm grip, and he latched onto the left belt of Midori Fuji. Look, they tussled for the left grip of Midori as Hokuseiho denied him any sort of purchase. Midori Fuji tried to pull him low, tried to break it. He tried leg sweeps, he tried trips, he tried some body movements, and he had plenty of throw attempts. But Hokuseiho basically used his bulk to effectively hold his position, trying to wear down his much smaller opponent. Now, we've spoken about Hokuseiho before and the way he goes about as a one-arm bandit and just leans his opponents out of the battle. Well, for example, I went back and watched the replay. Midori Fuji had before the water break, he had 10 leg trip attempts and 9 throw attempts on Hokuseiho. Hokuseiho didn't really do anything. He just held him. I don't think I could find anything that Hokuseiho tried to do in offense. It was just all defense. And anyway, coming up to that 4-minute mark, Midori Fuji's face was planted deep in Hokuseiho's chest. Hokuseiho had a hard left grips on Midori's belt. Midori had a right arm grip on the deep back of Hokuseiho. He tried to change it to the knot. He went back and forward a little bit trying to get a better purchase. He ended up with a really deep front belt grip on Hokuseiho, and Hokuseiho really tried hard to deny Midori Fuji anything going up under his armpit. Midori Fuji then, to go back to the Mizu-iri, the water breaks, so the side judge keeps time, and you might have seen him in the broadcast. He looked at his watch a few times, and at 4 minutes he told the gyoji that was it. And the gyoji, the referee, calls a mata, a break. So they hold their position. The gyoji then called for the shio, the salt, so he could put down marks to mark their feet position of each gyoji. So before they broke, the judges and the gyoji then examined the position of the wrestlers to make sure they knew where their hands were. The wrestlers then had a break, and they go to their corners to have a rest and have some water. Well, you could see Midori Fuji's fingers, they were sore, and his hands were working hard. Hokuseiho, he, despite not putting up much offense, he was sweating profusely. So Kimbo-zan helped tie Hokuto Fuji's belt a bit better. Midori Fuji stretched his fingers, and the wrestlers came back up and they returned to their salt marks. So they retook their positions under the eyes of the judges and the gyoji, and after a little bit of back and forth and a bit of adjustment and confirmation, he called a quick restart, and Hokuseiho tried a bit of a half-hearted move. It didn't really go anywhere. It wasn't really designed to do anything. Midori Fuji, they kind of went back and forth for about another minute and a half, 2 minutes. Then Midori Fuji had a go at it. He went for a right leg inside trip, and he tried to swing Hokuseiho around to the left for a throw attempt. They both swung around, Midori on the belt and Hokuto Fuji with his really hard left grip, which basically saved him. He had Hokuseiho swinging and going down, but the grip Hokuto Fuji had forced Midori Fuji to go a little bit lower in the throw. Hokuto Fuji got a bit of a hop on one leg after getting a bit airborne, and that effectively stopped his momentum and caused Midori Fuji to go down first and hit his arm just before Hokuseiho, I should say, went down and hit. Hokuseiho got a win of an epic battle, but I think you'll find that Midori Fuji won a lot of fans in that bout. The heart he showed to get through an epic 6 minute 45 second battle with someone so large. Anyway, he ended the match laying flat on his back on the dohyo, and Hokuseiho, being the sportsman, offered his hand and helped his opponent up. And at the end, they both look absolutely wasted. So after the water break, to give you some context, we said he had 10 trips and 9 throw attempts before the water break. Well, after the water break, Midori Fuji had another 8 leg trip attempts and about 4 or 5 throw attempts. Anyway, they called it an Watanage as the Kimarite, but look, I think it was more of a defensive, I didn't go down first, Kimarite. Anyway, I would say that is one of my top 5 fights of the year, and funnily enough, Midori Fuji is so far in 3 of them. Hard to beat that action for another day 7. Anyway, that was the highlight. Another highlight on day 7 was Ura's win over Sekiwake Kotonowaka by a Totari pull throw. Ura got himself into a position going backwards. He sidestepped right at the right moment and got Kotonowaka's arm by both hands and performed the most graceful throw you will see Kotonowaka Superman himself over the edge of the ring and out. Good win there by Ura. He needs to stack up a few more. Wakamoto Haru on day 7, he was in a bit of trouble. 4-3 after losing another bout, this time to Shodai. Wakamoto Haru got a big pushback, but goes for his grip and he's set up for a throw, but they both went down over the edge, and as the throw happened, Shodai kind of gets there, but Wakamoto Haru goes down first, and a quick mono-e confirmed it. Daiyosho got an Oshidashi win on Hokuto Fuji. Hoshoryu beat Abe, which puts him to 6-1. Kirishima got back on track, beating Tobizaru 5-3, and Taka Keisho lost to Gonoyama. It was a really strong touchy eye. They got into a thrusting battle. Konayama just got a better hit, which stood the hamster up, and he goes out Yarikiri into the second row, taking out a few judges and spectators on the way. I note that the spectators got up smiling because to have a sumo land on you seems to be something of honour. Anyway, Taka Keisho is in a bit of trouble, 5-2. He needs a series of wins. He's looking for his Yokozuna promotion and a Basho win. Hopefully, second week he'll face a few lower order wrestlers and give him a bit of an easier run into the final point of the Basho. I'm hoping for a Midori Fuji rematch with Taka Keisho coming into the back end of this tournament. So today we've just seen day 8 finish, and we saw Aoyama come up from Juryo. He's 5-2 in Juryo to join the bout against Kitanowaka. So what happens is when they, as Asanayama came back, he was Kyujo for the first week of this tournament, and he's come back, which created a bye in the lower order. So they usually pull up someone from Juryo to fill that bye, and Aoyama, who is a recent demotee down to Juryo, he gets to come back up. Anyway, a big Nodowa neck thrust from Aoyama. Kitayama copped it in the neck, but he pushed Aoyama back to the bales, and Aoyama stepped out just as he executed the throw on Kitanowaka. Tomokaze lost to Tsuranumi. Tsuranumi on a 6-2. Our Okinawan Rishiki. Not many wrestlers from Okinawa get up to the main ranks, so they're enjoying a bit of time with Tsuranumi, getting an Oshidashi win on Tomokaze. Ichiyamamoto was 6-1 coming into this match against Takara Fuji. Really good balance by Ichiyamamoto, even with his skinny little legs. Lots of Sapari thrusting as Ichiyamamoto goes backwards, but he kept up the pressure, moved Takara Fuji back. He sidestepped and out, manoeuvred Takara Fuji for a Tsukiyatoshi pull down. That takes him to 7-1, and guess what? He's in the lead of the tournament. Tamawashi with a really strong Kotanage on Tohaka Kuryu. Sadanumi rolled and ploughed Nishiki Fuji with a Yuri Tayoshi push-out. Hiradumi with 4 straight wins after a pretty poor start. Beat Tsurugishu. Poor old Tsurugishu. He's got some pretty bad knee after that. A little bit of a mutter, a bit of a false start. They got pulled back. It was a pretty good match, this one. Hiradumi was under pressure. Tsurugishu, he tried, but he just couldn't finish him off. He's certainly got a bit more weight on Hiradumi. He defended with a left grip and forced Tsuru to the bales. Really super active body pumping, and he forced Tsurugishu out. That gives Hiradumi 5 straight wins. Koto Eko gets a win on... who was that? That was Endo. They had a bit of an exchange of slaps, followed by a bit of a grip battle. Endo got an overarm twist down on Koto Eko, and funnily enough, I call this one a Wata Hineri, an overarm twist down. Not often I get that sort of weird one right, but good on me. Ryuden beats Hokuseiho, so I think Hokuseiho may have been a little bit gassed after the 6-minute 40 bout last night. It was all defence again from Hokuseiho, and leaning is not going to work on someone your same size like Ryuden. Ryuden kept the pressure up on Hokuseiho for a pulling underarm throw, a shitate dashinage, pulling underarm throw, shitate dashinage. So Ryuden gets that win. Atami Fuji saved himself with an arm lock leading to a kotanage twisting throw on Takanosho. And then our little man Midori Fuji went up against Miyagiru. Miyagiru tried to stop Midori getting his underarm under his right armpit. Midori Fuji got his right arm under. He pushed Midori Fuji back to the bales, and Midori Fuji threw a massive right arm Tsukiyanage underarm throw, dumping Miyagiru into the dirt, and I just went, what a throw. It was a massive, forceful Sukiyanage, something pretty to watch. If you see that replay, that's worth it. Tobizaru beat Meisei by a Sukiyatoshi pull-down. Takayasu versus Ura. Poor old Ura's neck must be sore. He's spent so much of this tournament looking up at the roof after some fairly nasty Nodowa neck thrusts. Anyway, Takayasu wins as he retreats to let Ura face plant. Daisho, again, too committed. Two in front of his feet. Abi steps to the side at the last moment, and Daisho goes into the crowd. That's 400 wins for Abi in his career. A really good achievement. Kotonowaka versus Shodai. Look, Shodai got this win. It's bear in mind, it is Kotonowaka's birthday today. I think he's 26, 27. I don't think Kotonowaka did a lot wrong in this match. He just got slightly upright and he got pushed out. I kind of watched the replay a few times and I just didn't think he did too much wrong. He just got done by a decent thrust. Anyway, Wakamoto Haru versus Gonayama. Bear in mind, Gonayama's coach is former Sumo Goedo. He was, I believe, an Ozeki. He also uses his kanji in his name, Gonayama. Gonayama wins by an Oshidashi push-out. It was just so much push forward, and Wakamoto Haru just seemed to not have much going at the time to get himself any sort of defence or go forward. I'm really worried for Wakamoto Haru so far. He's putting out some pretty bad numbers in this part of the tournament. Takakeisho looking for his Yokozuna. Asanayama. Kyujo coming back after a week off. They both went flying out of the ring and Takakeisho landed first. Look, it was a pretty big thrusting battle. Lots of hands thrusting back and forth. Sanayama got a bit of a belt grip right at the last moment to pull Takakeisho down. And look, they did have a bit of a mono-e, but the judges felt that Sanayama got that win. Look, there's a little bit of conjecture over Takakeisho's feet and when Asanayama's feet took off and whether there was a bit of Shinatai dead body there. But look, I watched it a few times. I think Takayasu just lost. Look, his run to Yokozuna is in deep trouble. Bear in mind, he has won Bashos from this point before. A Shitate Nage throw is the official Kimarite. Hoshoryu up against Nishikigi, our man who can't see more than a foot in front of his own face. Nishikigi, he took all the pressure and Hoshoryu just got a little bit too forward and lost his footing with his right foot and he went down. Look, they called it a Kotonage arm lock. I just think Hoshoryu got a bit too forceful and went down and slipped. That's his fourth loss to Nishikigi. Kirishima versus Hokuto Fuji. Hokuto Fuji is so strong, and he went for the Okuridashi push-out. Hokuto Fuji lost his grip, however, and he got turned around, and Kirishima pushed him out. So that gets Kirishima back up into the leaders' circle. So far in this tournament, our leader is Ichi Yamamoto on 7-1. Our men on 6-2, following close behind Kirishima, Hoshoryu, Kotonowaka, Nishiki Fuji, and our man Midori Fuji, Atami Fuji, Ryuden, Tamawashi, and Churanumi on 6-2. 5-3, we've got Takakeisho and Daisho, and another 5 men. So, look, this is a really interesting part of the tournament. There's a few of our Sekiwake that are just not doing the job. Our Ozekis have started strong and seem to be back and forth a little bit. I would like to see a bit better sumo from both Kirishima and Hoshoryu, our Ozekis. I think our man Takakeisho is in deep trouble. Daisho is just gone back to his unbalanced ways. I would think at this point of the tournament, I will still pick Kirishima for the win, I think. He has the wherewithal to take this one out, following close by Hoshoryu. Ichiyamamoto, while he's in 7-1, bear in mind he's not faced anyone above about Megashira 13, so I would think that coming into the second week he's going to face a few harder Rashiki, and that's going to give him a bit of a test. I think he's up to it. He's got some pretty good sumo, but those skinny little legs, let's see if he's got the lower body power. Certainly Kotonowaka, Nishikigi, Atami Fuji, they'd have to be in the favourites as well. Atami Fuji's sumo this week has been good. A couple little defensive mistakes there. And Midori Fuji, look, that man is a trier. Can't say anything more than that. He tries hard. He is inching closer to his Kachikoshi, another one to back up the September tournament. Anyway, people, that is a day 8 of the November Basho in Fukuoka. It's going well so far. I hope you enjoyed this last week of sumo. We should be able to sort out who's going to win this tournament and get a bit better idea by about Wednesday. If you can wait a few days, I'll come back to you at that point and we'll talk about what's happened in the next few days. Hakio listeners, let's learn sumo.